The United States has halted funding for HIV treatment in Nigeria, and honestly, it's about time. This decision should make every Nigerian ask an important question. What have we done with our own resources? Why are we, a nation blessed with vast natural and human resources, still dependent on foreign aid to fund critical aspects of our healthcare system? Why do we continue to rely on other nations to take care of our most vulnerable, instead of taking responsibility for our own people? This is not just another piece of news to skim through. It's a wake-up call, one that Nigeria desperately needs. For too long, we have operated under the illusion that the world owes us help, that other countries should swoop in and save us from our own shortcomings. But the reality is, no nation can afford to carry another indefinitely. The United States has finally made it clear that they are no longer going to blindly give out money without accountability. And honestly, I can't blame them. If the roles were reversed, would we do the same? Would we continuously fund another country's healthcare system while its leaders mismanage their own funds? This decision by the U.S. forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. We are not a poor country, we are just poorly managed. Nigeria is Africa's largest economy, with billions of dollars in oil revenue, tax revenue, and international loans. Yet our healthcare sector remains underfunded and dysfunctional, leaving millions of our citizens reliant on foreign aid for survival. This is not just an indictment of our government's failure. It is a reflection of our collective failure as a nation to demand better. The reality of PEPFAR and its impact. To understand the gravity of this situation, we must first acknowledge the sheer impact of the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR. Since its inception, this program has been a lifeline for millions of people in developing countries, including Nigeria. With an annual budget of $6.5 billion, PEPFAR has been instrumental in providing HIV treatment to over 20 million people globally and has saved at least 26 million lives. Nigeria alone has received more than $6 billion in PEPFAR funding to support its HIV/AIDS response over the years. This funding has ensured that approximately 2 million Nigerians living with HIV can access life-saving antiretroviral drugs. Without it, many of these individuals could face severe health crises, as Nigeria's healthcare system lacks the capacity to independently sustain such a large-scale HIV treatment program. And yet, despite receiving billions of dollars in aid, we still do not have a sustainable healthcare system. The U.S. State Department's decision to halt funding is not arbitrary. It is a direct consequence of years of poor management, corruption, and lack of accountability. They have made it clear, if Nigeria cannot be responsible with the resources given to it, then the U.S. will not continue to foot the bill. The bigger picture, why can't Nigeria fund its own healthcare? Let's be brutally honest. This is not America's problem, it's ours. The U.S. is not responsible for ensuring that Nigerians receive healthcare. It is not their duty to fund our hospitals, provide us with medication, or take care of our people. That responsibility falls on our own leaders, and they have failed us. So the real question we should be asking is, why can't we fund our own healthcare system? Nigeria is a country that exports millions of barrels of oil every single day. We have abundant natural resources, a large workforce, and enormous economic potential. But instead of investing in critical sectors like healthcare, education, and infrastructure, our leaders have chosen to squander resources on corruption, mismanagement, and personal enrichment. Think about it. Where has all the money gone? We have received billions in international aid over the years, yet we still lack basic healthcare services. Hospitals are under-equipped, doctors are underpaid, and patients often have to buy their own medical supplies just to receive treatment. This is not just negligence, it is criminal. How is it that a country as wealthy as Nigeria still struggles to provide healthcare for its people? Why do our leaders continue to fly abroad for medical treatment, while ordinary Nigerians suffer in hospitals that lack even the most basic equipment? Why are we still at the mercy of foreign aid when we have more than enough resources to build a world-class healthcare system? The answer is simple, because we have allowed it. We have allowed corruption to thrive. We have allowed our leaders to prioritize themselves over the welfare of the people. We have accepted the status quo for far too long. A necessary wake-up call. Some may view this decision as a setback, But in reality, it is an opportunity for Nigeria to finally take responsibility for itself. For decades, we have depended on foreign countries to solve our problems, and it has made us weak. It is time to stand on our own feet. Rather than blaming the US for cutting off funding, we should be asking ourselves how we got here in the first place. This is not about the US being unfair. This is about Nigeria finally being held accountable. We should not be in a position where the health of millions depends on the generosity of another country. That is not sovereignty. That is not independence. If we want to be taken seriously as a nation, we need to act like one. The way forward, what must Nigeria do? This crisis presents an opportunity for us to fix what is broken. Here's what we need to do moving forward. Invest in healthcare. Nigeria must prioritize healthcare funding and build a self-sustaining system that does not rely on foreign aid. HIV treatment, medical infrastructure, and access to life-saving drugs must be treated as a national priority, not an afterthought. Demand accountability. Nigerians must demand transparency from their leaders. We need to ask, where has the money gone? Why, after receiving billions in aid, do we still have a failing healthcare system? We must hold our government accountable for every naira spent. End the dependency mentality. It is time for Nigeria to stop waiting for foreign aid and start taking responsibility. If we want global respect, we need to earn it. No country thrives by relying on handouts. We must become self-sufficient. Empower local solutions. We have some of the best doctors, researchers, and healthcare professionals in Africa, but they are leaving the country in search of better opportunities abroad. Why? Because our government does not invest in them. We must create an environment where our best minds stay and build rather than flee. The U.S. halting HIV funding is a harsh but necessary reality check. It is a clear message. No one is coming to save us. If we want a better Nigeria, we must build it ourselves. We must take responsibility for our own future, and that starts with demanding better from our leaders. The days of blaming foreign powers for our problems must end. The days of dependency must end. It is time for Nigeria to wake up. What do you think? Is this decision by the US a wake-up call, or are we doomed to repeat the same cycle of dependency? If you care about Nigeria's future, it's time to pay attention. Like, share, and subscribe to join the conversation on accountability, leadership, and real solutions for our country. Let's stop the cycle of dependency and demand better together.